So today we're going to be doing word problems involving bearings. So I really hope that you've done that homework because now we're going to be building on it with a lot of problems with the words. So a couple of tips to start with. I've already told you last lesson that when we start a trip or a journey, we always start in the middle of the compass. But sometimes you go on a journey that takes a few different turns. You might go one place and then turn and go somewhere else and then turn and go somewhere else. Every time you start a new leg of the journey, then you're going to start with a new compass. All right, so wherever you are for the beginning of the next leg of the journey, you draw a compass up with that being in the middle. So as we go through it, I'll explain that. So there's a couple of questions you're going to come across which a lot of people don't do very well. So if you see a question where it says, how far is something north or south of something else? Then they're asking for a distance north or south. Now because the north-south line is a vertical line, once you've got your triangle drawn up, and for what we're doing at the moment, they're all right-angled triangles, then you're just looking for the vertical side in the triangle because north-south is a vertical line. All right, so the same thing happens when we go how far is something east or west of something else. East-west is a horizontal line, so that means once you're looking in your right-angled triangle, you will look for the horizontal side if they ask this question. Okay, so let's have a look at an example. We have Cameron leaves Sydney and drives 204 kilometres to a country town. The bearing of the town from Sydney is 323 degrees. What is the bearing of Sydney from the town? Okay, so let's just concentrate on what they've told us up here in the beginning. And we're going to draw a diagram. So we've got a compass drawn up, north, south, east, west. We're starting our journey in the middle here at Sydney because that's where he starts his trip. So I'm writing an S here for Sydney. You can write the word Sydney there if you want to. All right, now we've got to get this bearing right first. So we're going to turn him in the right direction. So he's going 323 degrees. So we go north, clockwise through 323 degrees. So we're going to go 90, 180, 270, a bit further. So he drives off in this direction. There's your 323 degree bearing. So he drives off in that direction and he drives for 204 kilometres. So always do your bearing first, so you're pointing in the right direction and then draw the line and put the distance on. Okay, now he ends up at a country town. I've just called it T for town. And the question here says, what is the bearing of Sydney from the town? Now, if they're asking it like this, the town has to be in the middle of the compass, and it's not. So get a different coloured pen. Draw up your compass, north, south, east and west, where the town is in the middle, so we can answer this question. Now, we want the bearing of Sydney. So we're looking for the angle going from north on this new compass, clockwise till we hit the line that goes off to Sydney. So if we can get this answer here, that will be our bearing. That's what they want us to tell them. Okay, so to get that answer, what we're going to do is try and remember our alternate angles. So the east-west lines are both parallel to each other, right? So we have two parallel lines here. Okay, so this angle in here is what I'm looking for now. So if we've got 323 degrees, if we take off from there to there, which is 270, I'll just come over here and do that. 323 minus 270 will give me 53 degrees. Okay, now that is the angle in here. That's that bit. Now, because we know about alternate angles, if that's 53, this bit here is also 53 because of alternate angles. Now, if any of this is getting too crowded on your diagram, you can redraw it, okay? You can redraw bits of it if you like. So what I'm looking at here is this. Okay, so we've got 53 in this spot, and we just found 53 in this spot because they're alternate angles. So now, if that's 53 in there, this is what I'm looking for. I'll just draw the bit I need. looking for this. That's the angle I'm looking for. And I've just found that this one here is 53, this little big piece here. So our bearing for that whole red angle is going to be 90 plus 53. And that equals 143 degrees. All right, now there's a second part to the question. It says, how far north of Sydney is the town? So I come back over here to my diagram. Now, I'm running out of colours here, aren't I? But I'll just use my red pen, I think, just so you can see this triangle. So at the moment, we've just got that. All right, we're going to create a right angle triangle. So the easiest way for me to do it is go straight down here. So now I've got a triangle. There's the right angle, okay? Now because the question says how far north, if you look at that triangle, the north side, how far north or south, because north-south is a vertical line, we're looking for the vertical side. So I'm going to put an X there. That's what I'm looking for. So I've redrawn it over here so you can see the triangle. So here's the triangle. Okay, I've redrawn it here. There's T, S, that's what we're looking for. There's 204 kilometres here and 53 degrees in there. So all you're going to do now is label your sides. This is your hypotenuse, this is your opposite side. And we're now going to do sine theta equals O over H. Sine 53 degrees equals X over 204. Then we're trying to find X, so we're going to get rid of the divided by 204. Come over here and times by the 204 and put it in your calculator. They have not asked for any rounding here, so I'm not rounding that answer off. I'm just going to leave it and write kilometres on the end because it is a distance. All right, looking at the next question. We have a triathlete. He cycles 20 kilometres on a south-southeast bearing to the finish line. So south-southeast is what we're looking for. So I've drawn up a compass over here. I'm going to mark in the start of his journey, which is in the middle of the compass. We'll call it S for start. Now we're going on a south-southeast bearing. So here's south and here's southeast. And he's going on a south-southeast bearing, which is halfway between south and southeast. So that's the journey that he's on. He cycles for 20 kilometres. I just might make this line a little bit shorter so I can write this in better. All right, now, that's your finish, right there. It's south-southeast, but I'm going to write F for finish. And he's travelled 20 kilometres on that distance. So let's write the 20 kilometres in. Okay, now that's all we've got. That's all they've told us. We've gone from start to finish on the right direction that they've told us for 20 kilometres. Now it says, how far has the triathlete travelled in a southerly direction? So how far south is he? Remember, north-south is a vertical line, so we have to create a right angle triangle. That's the first thing. So the easiest way for me to do that is just to come from here straight across. Here's my right angle triangle. There's my right angle. And because they're asking how far south, we're looking for the vertical side. So this is where we're going to put our X. And now we're going to try and do the question. But the problem is at the moment, we haven't put our angles in. We do know a lot though about south and southeast, remember. We've done a lot of these so far. So halfway between south and southeast, or south to southeast is 45 degrees. We're halving it. So this little angle here will be half of 45, which is 22.5 degrees. Okay, so we're going to use our red triangle, label our sides. This is the hypotenuse. This is the adjacent side, so we're using cos. So it's cos theta equals A over H. Cos 22.5 degrees equals X over 20. Then we're just going to go through like we normally do. Get rid of the divided by 20 and times by over here. Then put it in your calculator, and this one asks for one decimal place So we are rounding off to 1 decimal place. So that will be 18.5 kilometres. Now the second part of the question says, what is the compass direction of the start of the cycle leg from the finish line? Okay, so because it's from the finish line, we have to have the finish line in the middle of the compass. And at the moment, the finish line is not in the middle of the compass. So I'm going to try and just redraw part of this diagram so it's not so messy. We can see most of our diagrams down here, so we don't need, this part up the top so much. So if we just have a look at what we've got, that's the main bits of it at the moment. All we need to mark on at the moment is, there's our S, there's our F, and that's in the middle of the new compass. So we're going to draw up our compass with the finish line in the middle. Okay, and they want you to go from north clockwise till you hit that line. Now if you can give that answer, that's what they want, all of that angle there. So, to find all of that, we know that from north all the way around to west is 270. So if we can find this little angle in here, then we'll know what we're doing then. We'll be nearly there. So we're going to find that angle. So if you have a look at what we've done so far, if I just come to the side of that red triangle up there, right, we know that this is 22.5. So what is this blue angle down here then? Oops, just do that with the blue pen. Okay, so we know, remember with a triangle, we've got 180 degrees in it, but when 90 degrees is taken up at the right angle, these two must add up to 90. So I'm going to do 90, take away 22.5, and what's that give me? 67.5 for that angle. So when I find my bearing then, all I need to do, coming back here to what we were doing, I'm going all the way around here, so I'm going 270 to get to west. Then I'm going to continue on and add on that blue angle, 67.5, and that will give us 337.5 degrees. Now that would be what it is as a bearing, or if we went to if we wanted to do the 3-digit angle, we would do 338 degrees. But this question says compass direction. So the compass bearings, remember, are the ones that always use the north, south, east and west stuff. So what we want to know is, what direction is that heading there? What is that? Okay, well we've just found that this angle here is 67.5. So that leaves this one here to be 90 take away 67.5, which gives you 22.5 degrees. So what would be the angle that's 22.5 going this way of north? So think about it. We have north, west, northwest. What's that angle there where that's 22.5? Think about it. It's got to be, it's halfway between northwest and north, but you always give this one first. So our answer is going to be north, northwest. So that's the actual compass bearing or the compass direction. All right, we're coming back in the next video to do more of these questions because we need lots of practice.